Nigeria records lowest daily new COVID-19 cases, with total tally now at more than 55,000. Federal government calls for creative ideas for branding the country's 60th independence anniversary, just a few days away. In international news, India becomes second worst hit nation by COVID-19 as cases top 4 million. And in sport, tennis star Djokovic apologizes after US Open disqualification.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Nigeria's COVID-19 tally has increased to more than 55,000 as the country's Center for Disease Control, NCDC, records 100 new infections on Sunday. This, by the way, is the lowest daily count since April. The center reports 3 persons have died of COVID-19 complications, while 91 patients have recovered and have been discharged. After several days of featuring third or fourth on the list, Lagos took the lead again on Sunday with 39 new cases, a very low number compared with what it used to be reported. The Federal Capital Territory followed with 22 cases, while Kaduna reported 19 new cases. Oyo, Ebonyi, Edo States, Katsina, Enugu, Ekiti, Bauchi, and Nasarawa also recorded new cases in single digits. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has activated 2 new testing laboratories for the novel coronavirus disease. In a tweet on Saturday, NCDC said the 2 laboratories are located in Nasarawa and Rivers State. The center also said testing is free in any of its molecular laboratory network. With these new testing centers, NCDC now has 69 laboratories spread across 34 states and the Federal Capital Territory, with the exception of Kebbi and Niger states. Last Friday, the center had collected more than 420,000 samples for testing. Nearly 54,000 of those have come back positive for COVID-19. Nigeria's 60th independence anniversary is just a few days away, and the federal government is looking to do something a little different and special on this occasion. So it wants Nigerians to come up with creative ideas and submit composition for an anniversary slogan, photograph and poem that would be launched to celebrate this year's Independence Day from October the 1st this year to the end of December next year. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, said on Saturday President Muhammadu Buhari has approved an inclusive program for the National Independence Celebration that would observe COVID-19 protocols and guidelines. Pantami said the theme for the country's Diamond Jubilee is Together at 60, and the thematic and creative aspects of the event would be inclusive and would be designed by Nigerians for Nigeria. The minister is encouraging Nigerians to participate in the challenge and to vote for the best brand through the challenge. He said winners will receive prizes in addition to being part of what he called this epoch-making event. In recent years, wigs and weaves have become fashion statements among trendy women in Africa, Nigeria inclusive. Foreign enterprises have seized the opportunity to do booming businesses in Nigeria's hair industry, and the COVID-19 pandemic has not slowed down demand for wigs. One Nigerian dealer has even written a book about them. Correspondent Deji Badmos has the details.
They come in different lengths, texture, grades and colors. Adedonya Dewale store in Lagos boasts some of the best quality of hair extensions and wigs in the Nigerian market, and most of them come directly from various donors across different races. The raw ones, popularly referred to as naked or human hair, enjoy the most patronage, largely due to their durability.
We have the virgin hair, we have Brazilian hair, we have Peruvian hair, we have double drawn, we have super double drawns, and we also have donor. And the donor is really trending now because it's the kind of hair that even after you've used it for like 4 or 5 years still look exactly the way it is, most especially the straight one of it. When you use them, it looks so much like you've not used them at all. It's something that you can actually resell. We can give you like 15 years warranty on luxury donor hair.
Wig maker Christiana deals only in human hair. She says it has become the latest go-to for fashionable women who want to switch up their looks. But they usually come at a very huge price.
We have straight, wavy, coily, right? So those coily hairs, it's very hard to find people's natural hair. Those very raw hair that are cut from people that are raw coily hairs, they are really expensive because it's hard to maintain. So they are the most expensive. Then we have the wavy hair, and then we have the straight hair. Now, the longer the hair, the costlier it is.
Years back, most ladies fixed their hair, but wigs are now the trend, and it's been a win-win situation for both hair vendors and customers.
Fixing of hair is tiring these days. It has got to the stage that there are some hair that complement your outfit. So that is why a lot of ladies, they want to have a lot different wigs. They believe when you are wearing a long dress, you should wear a short wig on it. We do a lot of colors because people come up with different shades of gold, brown. So we just buy. It's just like buying bundles. Is like getting your materials, then coming up with exactly what your customer wants.
For Christiana, she has made a profession out of the wig making business. She's even written a book on the subject where she highlights some of the growth potentials in the fast rising sector.
We don't have an industry in Nigeria that does ventilation, like closures, frontals. As we speak right now, in this season now, we're in the season when we are short of closures and frontals. We can actually produce this in Nigeria. All we need is the lace and the raw hair, like the type that is not wefted. You know, we can have our own industry in Nigeria, and we can buy from ourselves. You know, we can be so much more. So we can start from being able to produce closures and frontals.
The safety of this raw hair is guaranteed by sellers. The hairs are often washed in conditioners or odor-friendly chemicals to take off any germs before they are shipped for sale. And in some cases, some customers still insist on a second treatment of the hair before they wear them.
Coming up, African stories. COVID-19 batters Kenya's unemployment figures as nearly 2 million lose their jobs. And later, international news. India becomes second worst hit nation by COVID-19 as cases top 4 million.
You are watching ANN.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. COVID-19 has taken a toll on the African economy, and most countries have faced challenges in just about every sector. Unemployment numbers in Kenya have spiked as nearly 2 million lose their jobs as a direct result of COVID-19. Correspondent Robert Nagila reports.
Up until March this year, 55-year-old Joseph Wahome operated a school transport business, ferrying about 150 students to school and back home each day, and making about $3,000 a month.
Just before I've removed all my profits, I have to pay the drivers, I pay them on a weekly basis, pay the conductors, and other errands.
After the first case of COVID-19 was confirmed in the country, schools were shut as part of measures adopted to cut the spread of COVID-19. After depleting his savings, Joseph was forced to lay off his employees.
I had kept a little size of money, but now that took me only about 2 months. So after that, now I'm living on friends.
New data released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows unemployment in Kenya shot up to 10.4% in June from 5.2% recorded in March when the first case of COVID-19 was detected. The report goes on to say the level of unemployment rose sharply amongst young people aged 20 to 29 years as employers like Joseph rushed to cut operational costs. What that essentially means is 1.8 million people lost their jobs in that 4-month period. And experts say they're yet to fully understand the impact of COVID-19 on the economy.
Some of the impacts that we are currently seeing, we're just beginning to understand. We do know that there are certain sectors that have been devastated. And what comes to mind is the hospitality and the tourism sectors. Apart from the loss of jobs, there have been entire organizations closing down and essentially folding their businesses.
And they warn the impact will likely be felt for a long time to come.
If you look at the loss of income that has come about as a result of COVID, it has sort of led to, a lot more people dropping below the poverty line and essentially the poverty situation worsening. Secondly, if you look at food production and distribution, the disruptions that COVID-19 came with have sort of resulted not only a creep up of prices, but also a higher cost of living.
For employers like Joseph, he's not sure how long he can wait for schools to reopen before calling it quits. That uncertainty can't be good for those hoping to get their jobs back.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly disrupted sporting activities across Africa and around the world. Sports fans have had nowhere to go except to watch reruns of old games on television. Uganda is thinking about restoring sporting events as the country eases more COVID-19 restrictions. Correspondent Leo Sionj has the story.
Preparations are already underway for the possible resumption of sports. In March, the government suspended all sports activities because of coronavirus.
Resumption is it's everyone's wish. The sooner the better. Guys have been looking forward to this for 6 months now. Everyone wants to get back onto the park.
An announcement about the return of sports is expected within days. Exactly how sporting activities will be allowed to resume will be based on guidelines provided by the National Council of Sports.
These venues has to be regulated. We have to know where these competitions are going to take place. The people who are going to be involved will demand the list of the people. The other bit is the places must be sanitized before, during and after.
Golf is already allowed for leisure purposes, but competitive tournaments are still suspended. The council has also urged sports federations to start planning for the activities without funds, adding that the government will offer financial support. But even with the anticipated resumption, some federations are already running out of time to complete their calendar events. Most sports federations here complete their seasons in November, so there would be need to be adjustments to dates for competitions to be possible. The local motorsport federation could be most affected.
October is largely the cutoff point for us if we are to do any sports, because to prepare for an event, if they open you in October, you need an entire month also to prepare the routes and all that.
The local basketball federation has already set its sights on 2021 following the cancellation of all its basketball activities this year. Boxing and athletics will likely get the nod to resume, with next year's Olympics to qualify for. The local football body, FUFA, is already in gear, with October set for the start of their new football season.
Egypt has maintained its B2 credit rating with Moody's Global Credit Rating Agency. That rating depicts a stable outlook. The ratings agency says this was a result of the country's diversified economy and adequate foreign exchange reserves. Moody's says Egypt has adopted policies that brought inflation under control and kept interest rates low for a fast economic recovery. Egypt's economic reform program of the past 5 years has been successful. The country is one of the few countries in the Northern African region that have managed to hold their own during the economic fallout caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Experts say the country's economic policies during the coronavirus outbreak has kept interest rates low, thereby keeping prices and inflation rates low. Moody's forecasts good performance in the medium term and predicts an impressive economic growth of 5.5% next year, up from the current 3%. When we return, international news. India becomes second worst hit nation by COVID-19 as cases top 4 million. And later, sport. Tennis star Djokovic apologizes after US Open disqualification.
You are watching ANN. Somewhere in the world, every second of the day, news is happening. And of course, Nigeria is bustling with news day and night. That is why ANN doesn't sleep. Our eyes are peeled, wide open, so no story escapes our radar. We stay abreast of world events and happenings at home. We keep you up to the minute in the world of sports. We give you information to stay on top of your investments and all the hard facts you'll need to navigate your day. If you miss us on air, you can keep up to date on our website and on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. We are ANN, African News Network. We do news right in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. India is now the COVID-19 second worst hit country after the United States as it overtakes Brazil in the recorded number of coronavirus infections. India recorded more than 90,000 new cases in 24 hours over the weekend, bringing its tally to more than 4 million. With a population of nearly 1.5 billion, experts say the new numbers are not surprising, as many blame the country's delayed response to the virus. The government imposed a strict lockdown in March, but with the cost of the restrictions also rising, authorities had to reopen the economy. Most of India's cases are in western Maharashtra state and the 4 southern states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka. Johns Hopkins University in the U.S. says India's COVID-19 death toll is now more than 69,000. Testing in India has increased to more than 1 million each day. A second powerful typhoon Aishin has slammed Japan on Sunday with fierce winds and rain, blowing off rooftops and leaving homes without power output as it edged northward into an area vulnerable to flooding and mudslides. Japan Meteorological Agency warns that rainfall would be fierce and warns residents to be ready to take shelter and stock up food and water. Typhoon Aishin brought heavy rain and powerful wind gusts of about 112 miles per hour, equivalent to a Category 3 hurricane. Aishin is expected to move on to the main southern island of Kyushu in the next few days. Japan Meteorological Agency has urged Okinawa and Kyushu residents to exercise extreme caution. Aishin means sea god in Chinese. Bullet trains temporarily halted services and dozens of flights were cancelled. The European Union and Britain are back to bargaining over Brexit, with the United Kingdom setting a deadline for the middle of October to strike a free trade deal with the European Union. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says if no agreement is reached, both sides should accept to move on. Failure to reach a deal could result in the imposition of trade tariffs and customs controls for goods moving between the UK and EU. The UK left the EU late January, but there has been little progress on a new trade deal because of the UK's insistence that it has full autonomy over state aid and fishing. The EU is determined to ensure a level playing field for competition so British firms can't undercut the bloc's environmental or workplace standards or pump public money into UK industries. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian has blamed the delay on UK's attitude. The UK's Brexit negotiator, David Forst, said on Sunday that the British government was not scared of a no-deal exit at the end of the year. Irish Foreign Minister Simon Coveney, who played a key role in negotiating the withdrawal agreement and Northern Ireland Protocol, said on Twitter that the reported move would be a very unwise way to proceed. 289 protesters were arrested in Hong Kong over the weekend during one of the largest pro-democracy demonstrations since China imposed the national security law in June. Hong Kongers were originally scheduled to go to the polls on Sunday, but in July, the city's leader postponed legislative elections for a year because of the coronavirus pandemic. Some pro-democracy activists accused the government of using the coronavirus pandemic as an excuse for fear of pro-government parties doing badly at the polls. A government statement said 270 of those arrested were suspected of unlawful assembly, and that the rest were held on suspicion of attacking police officers, loitering and obstructing police from performing their duties. Hong Kong police says it had issued several warnings against unlawful assembly. Meanwhile, in Portland, in the U.S. state of Oregon, 50 persons were arrested during an anti-racism theory demonstration on Saturday night. It was the 100th night of protest in the city since the death of George Floyd in late May. The arrest came after some people in the crowd threw multiple fire bombs at officers, one of which set a community member on fire. The police said it was clear that the intent of the crowd was not a peaceful protest. The police also said Saturday night's demonstrations did not include any gun violence, but the use of fire bombs presents an extreme danger to life and safety. Up next, sports. Tennis star Djokovic apologizes after US Open disqualification. Please stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In sport, the 2022 Winter Olympics is still some ways off, but momentum is slowly building in China. The first Olympic-themed airline made its debut on Saturday, and correspondent Nin Hong has the story.
Air China has revealed its new Olympic-themed flight to mark the 500-day countdown for the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games. It's painted with the Games' two mascots, Bing Dundun and Xue Rongrong. The first flight Saturday took off from Beijing and headed to Chengdu, the home of Bing Dundun, the ice suit-wearing panda.
Colored drawings covered a very large area, about one-third of the plane's surface.
Among the passengers aboard the flight were renowned Chinese sports stars.
We're taking this flight to our hometown to a public skate course there, while working to promote winter sports training.
Saturday marks just the beginning of a national tour for the flight. It will soon be heading to cities such as Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen.
World number one Novak Djokovic has issued an apology after his disqualification from the US Open. Djokovic swiped at a ball in frustration and the ball hit a line judge in the throat, causing injury. He was just 6-5 behind in the opening set in his fourth-round match against Pablo Carreno Busta when he angrily hit a ball toward the back of the court. Despite showing remorse, tournament referee Soren Fremel and Grand Slam supervisor Andreas Egli decided his action amounted to a default offense, which resulted in his disqualification. He would also forfeit all tournament prize money and ranking points. That is in the news this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a pleasant evening.